Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News, the show that may or may not be 5 minutes. Today in the news, over on gamesindustry.biz, they've got an article asking, are video games more expensive? And honestly, you know me, I had a deep dive. The author, Sam Nagy, starts off the article talking about inflation and the rising cost of goods, but in particular video games. And he notes the cost of retro video games and the new video games market and the costs of collectors and old video game technology and how all that can be seen as sort of a sign of a problem. And I just want to throw in my 2 cents here because as we get deeper into the article, we need to get this out of the way. The cost of retro games isn't really established by sentimentality or the actual worth of things. Really, there's a bunch of assholes jacking up the price, artificially inflating the cost of retro, which we've talked about before, and there are amazing videos on. So I just want to put that out there. Yes, the cost of retro video games is increasing, but I don't really know that it's connected to this in any sort of way. Just making that point. All of this talk eventually leads Sam to ask the question, how expensive are new games today compared to yesteryear? As you can see by the graphic included, and he does include many graphs, the cost does appear to increase over time. The price increase seems to occur during significant upgrades in the console lifecycle, such as when game technology moved into new graphical improvements or when optical drives were added. For example, between 1993 and 2001, the average cost of a new console game was $49.99. But in 2005, with the release of Xbox 360 and PS3, that increased to $59.99. But then, because this is what good researching is, he shows us a graph adjusted for inflation so you can see what that would look like. How a 1977 Atari 2600 game today would retail at the equivalent of just under $200. As time progresses, the price of games falls in relative terms. Games for the Xbox and PS4 that retailed at $59.99 back in 2013 today would be sold at $76.30 if game publishers followed inflationary pressures. He goes on to say what I think we all know, that no one is actively going to compare prices based on anything inflation related, past or present, whatever. We look at the price, we see $70, and we know that it used to be $60. And we say they're raising prices, which isn't wrong. It is exactly what happens. They raise the price. The difference and why we're feeling it so much now, I believe, has all these other factors associated with it. Average wages remain stagnant, the decline of physical copies, and the increase of microtransactions, more remakes and games filled with more pay-for DLC. Hell, the release of a 100-hour game being at the exact same price point as a game that's 20 hours or a game that's 8 hours also plays into that. It changes our perception about what the cost benefit of paying $60, $70 for is for a game. Don't even get me started on this whole NFT thing. So there's a lot to consider here, and I think that Sam scratches the surface. He does it in a very good way, but I just wanted to say that that's an article you can read if you want more information. Link down below. In other news, during a conference call this week, we got some more information on Grand Theft Auto 6. I know. I can't wait for our grandchildren to play it. Take-Two said during its recent earnings call that development of the next entry in the Grand Theft Auto series is well underway. It further said the team at Rockstar Games is determined to once again set creative benchmarks for the series, the game industry, and for all entertainment mediums, just as it has done in the past with each previous mainline entry, which I think is safe to say and agree with. And they also went on to say that Grand Theft Auto 5 is making bank still, and they're very proud of that. The thing I really want to know is, what does all that corpo jargon they just talked actually mean? And earlier on Twitter, Jason Schreier was talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 and mentioned that it would feature the first ever female protagonist in the franchise, which I am sure didn't cause any dudes on the internet to lose their shit. Jason also mentioned that Rockstar was taking care to make sure the game was a little more welcoming and inclusive this time around, something that reflects the overall shift in culture at Rockstar. He also found that the map was originally going to be a huge North and South America map, but it's more like a fictional Miami now, and after launch, then they're going to introduce other cities. At least that's what I read. And honestly, that's pretty much all we really know right now. I'm actually pretty excited about the fact that they didn't go all out crazy. I'm sure that would have been amazing and a spectacle, but it sounds like it would have been a lot of nothing. I like the idea of them releasing like a Miami City and then maybe like, I don't know, an Atlanta, and you can kind of go between them and have experiences, and they're released over time. So it has that longevity that GTA 5 has, but with content that I would come back for. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I thought that was pretty neat. What do you think of the other things that we're kind of learning about it? Do you think we'll see it anytime soon? I'm not expecting any time before 2025. I just can't. But let me know what you think That's what the comments are for. Speaking of letting me know what you think, you can get that good access and get directly to me over on patreon.com/Jesse Cox. I don't know why you would want to. I'm just going to be like, that's a pretty good idea. I don't know. But if you want to, you definitely can. Just like Daniel Andreas Finsrud, Yulina Payek, and Patricia Isido. Anyway, that's it. Thanks so much. I'll see y'all tomorrow for another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News.